And,
oh, geez.
yeah,
It'll come out different next time.
well, that's fine. And I'm sure you've said it a few times, but apologies for that. I started the meeting early and turned off the recording because there was nobody here. So now that we're together, we're recording. So I won't ask you to do it again, but let's just dive into, the Workplace Challenge Cup.
Sure.
Congratulations to you and
Thank
your
you.
team. How did you first hear about this challenge or competition that SHRM is putting on?
So we're in the HR tech space. So of course we follow SHRM and kind of what they're doing. And so we had seen that the competition was out there. It was a first time through for them. So we didn't really know what it meant to begin with, but we're like, all right, we can submit an application, see how that goes. And did the first submission, just basically a write-up of what we do, how we do it. And I think there were a few assets we had to share with them, some background on the company. And then from there, it kind of snowballed from round to round to round for us.
Round to round to round. So how many companies total were part of the
I believe the number I heard was 170 to begin with. So it was broken up into 17 different regions to begin, 17 local rounds to begin with. And so they took that 170, reduced it to who was actually competing in local rounds. We were competing in the Boston region round. And we won that. So we're competing against, I think, 10 companies there. So we each had to do a 3-minute pitch. It was a video recorded pitch for that round. And then from there, we went to regionals. And we competed for the Northeast region and won that again with a video. And then from there, we went to Vegas, where we were competing against 4 other companies. So there were 5 of us total for the finals.
Dang. Wow. So that whole initial inertia sounds like the video, and it is 3 minutes. Does anybody want to give thumbs up or thumbs down to watch take the 3 minutes here to hear what Compt is? Get the visuals.
Yeah, I'm happy to. If you want to, I think you've got a copy of the video. I've got it as well. If you want to, depending on how you want to share it.
Yeah, since I'm doing the immersive thing here, let me see if
Perfect.
I can get this right here. Share sound as well, right? Ooh, mono or stereo. Let's we'll just say mono for now. And all right, hopefully this will work. But thank you for being back up there.
Sure.
See if we can skip the YouTube commercials here.
Welcome to Compt.
Right.
Today's
workforce
is more diverse in how they work and where they work than ever before. Right now, 71% of organizations implemented or are considering remote work full-time. And of the employees working from home, 72% want a hybrid work model moving forward. Employees are not just location diverse, they're also generationally diverse, culturally diverse, background diverse, and everyone's situations and needs are different. And because of that, organizations have a unique opportunity to improve how they support their people. Perk programs, which were originally designed to fill this need, no longer fit the bill. Today's perk programs are one size fits all and only work for some of the people, not all of the people. At first, an on-site gym sounds great, but what about the people who don't want to work out in front of colleagues, who prefer to run outdoors, or want to do yoga at their favorite local studio? Apply this same lens to all of the other top perks, and it's easy to see just how lopsided they are. If no 2 employees are the same, why are most organizations still treating them like they are? Compt helps companies to transform their outdated perk programs into truly powerful lifestyle support using perk stipends.
How we do that is through our software, which helps companies build, manage, and streamline their employee perk stipends so that everyone can get what they need most.
When a company signs up for Compt, they select from ready-made stipends or create their own custom stipend. They can pick from 17 major categories of spending, and then they invite their people to use their funds. Our software manages the rest. Compt keeps employees regularly updated on their balance and usage information, maintains full tax compliance, and ensures HR teams have a central and easy-to-use platform.
Compt stipends have also virtually no administrative effort, freeing you up to spend more time on your people, not your admin.
How do we know what we're doing works? Well, our customers and their people tell us themselves. We have 90% employee engagement across thousands of employees using Compt.
A happy Compt user, Jared Littlejohn, was thrilled with his Compt benefit saying that
This perk has allowed me to spend time with the people I care about. I was able to expense a flight home to surprise my mom for her birthday.
that's priceless.
Compt was founded in 2018 by 2 female founders. Our founder CEO is a 5-time CFO and COO that intimately understands the challenges of HR.
And Compt is used by many of today's culture leaders. Here are just a few. We're continually inspired by all the amazing ways that companies support their people. Just take a look at the few of the thousands of ways that employees have used their perks in the last year. Thanks for watching. Check out our website to learn more.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So who produced this? Was this something internally? Is that your voice, Amy? I'm not sure.
It's not my voice. It's Sarah, who was part of the team at the time. She was, running marketing, so it was all done in-house. She had great voice for building the video. She did a really amazing job.
Was that a requirement? I mean, it sounds like to get through all those first couple of rounds, that must have been quite a marketing feat to build this in-house and advance, right?
So they didn't require that we have a video. Some companies could pitch in person, but they had a very hard 3-minute time limit. So it put the companies at a disadvantage that didn't build a video.
Wow.
And a lot of the videos that were submitted were basically a founder floating head kind of talking over a deck. And so our video was very, very different from other things that were submitted. So it was, I think it helped us get through the early rounds. Because they also gave us mentoring as we went through the rounds as part of the process for all the founders, not just us, obviously.
Really?
There wasn't a ton of feedback for us. They're like, we looked at a lot of things, just do that again. that was good. Because
Wow.
I mean, it is hard to encapsulate what you do in 3 minutes, especially when it's not a platform that anyone has seen before. This isn't like we're describing payroll software where everybody has a frame of reference. It's a very different concept.
True. Well, there's some good pointers there for potential winners in the future, right? To do that. And yeah, it's one of my questions going to be, hey, how long was the pitch initially? I think at the finalist round in Las Vegas, it was longer, right? How long was that?
So the finalist round, they gave us up to 15 minutes and said, pitch as long as you want, but that includes Q&A. And their advice was keep your pitch under 5 minutes. The judges really want to ask you questions. So I extended it a little bit, changed up the format a bit and some of the focus. But I think we came in at about 5.5 minutes on that.
Did you show the video again, or you just did live?
Nope, live pitch at that point. It was a Shark Tank style. We had Damon John from Shark Tank, who was one of the judges, as well as some folks from SHRM and some VCs. So it was, go do this live kind of situation. So
besides the 50 grand, did you get any perks like lunch with Damon or?
No, they were struggling. I mean, he's an expensive guy for them to have brought in, obviously. So I think they were trying to even make sure that they could get pictures with him. There wasn't a lot of that. But we got a picture on stage with him, which was great. And he asked some good questions during the pitch, both of us and then of the other companies as well. The other perks, I mean, honestly, they built out a gorgeous booth for us. SHRM did, as part of being part of SHRMLabs. We had amazing placement within the convention hall. They're promoting us like SHRM did, just an absolutely stellar job in making sure that we were recognized as being part of this competition, and we're sitting front and center with, the attendees as well.
Yeah, that's and that's all good stuff, I guess. From the, winner's perspective, 50 grand is a good thing to have.
I'm certainly not complaining.
Any plans with that specifically, or is it just going to go into the bucket to keep things moving?
No, it's earmarked for marketing. So we are launching, and part of the reason Ellen has joined our team is to really focus on building out our partner program. And so that takes money. And so having that extra funding to be able to spend it directly on marketing, when historically we haven't spent a lot of marketing on marketing, that has been incredibly helpful. So it is helping us kind of advance a new strategy, a new go-to-market strategy, and increasing our approach.
Well, that's great. And I can't see Ellen right now, but I can hear her smiling. And I'm sure it was well deserved. So I guess of the other finalists, and actually I'll share a couple of pictures here while we're chatting.
Oh, cool.
There's the I guess what was it called?
It's the SHRMLabs kind of area. So there were those 5 companies were the finalists.
So did you get a chance to talk to the others or see their pitches?
Saw all their pitches and spent a fair amount of time with them. It was a very interesting environment between the 5 companies. It was, I've pitched a lot. I've done plenty of competitions. This was very different in that each of us were very, very different types of products. Honestly, I believe that any one of us could have won. Everybody was building something really, really interesting. And so there was just so much more support for each other across this, because we knew it was going to come down to, whatever the judges kind of took a fancy to versus, one being a better product than another. It was broader than that. So even when we were practice pitching, because we had to figure out our placement on the stage and stuff, we were helping each other. And that was pretty cool. It was just a very different environment, because I think honestly, all 5 of those companies, all 5 of us stand a really good chance of doing very well in the market, and we're solving different needs. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you were one of the judges, now that you know what it took to get to your winning role, would you vote for one of the others that besides
over my
yourself,
company?
Of course.
Of course
No,
not.
yeah. No,
Come on
but
now.
I mean,
I am competitive.
Who do you think was the next best?
I think they were each really important in their own way. So one of the companies that I really liked was Workwhile. They were really focused on the hourly space and in creating a lot more engagement and support for hourly workers. I think that's absolutely critical in this environment. And I thought they're all the way on the far right over there. I think what they're building is incredible. Tilt, the one sitting in the middle there, I think their founder and their team is doing something really amazing around employee leave, to where you're looking at, especially when you're looking at parental leave, maternity leave, that is a mess to navigate, especially when you've got different states, different regulations, different approaches. That's a lot of paperwork you're putting on someone who's getting ready to have a child in particular, and they're simplifying all of that. That's incredible. It makes it a much better experience for the new parent. It also makes it much easier for companies. And then you've got Unboxed and Simba, who were both incredible as well. So Simba was one of the finalists. And so looking at different ways of working with employees, supporting diverse environments, of these companies, I think we had 4 of the 5 pitches were female founders. And one of the pitchers was a man, but a person of color. And so you just have a very different approach to building companies and a very different kind of thought process and perspective as to what support looks like across. So I honestly believe that any one of us could have won, and it would have been, well-deserved.
Yeah. Well, congratulations again on that. So at the event itself, they had this beautiful giant floor space. Did you have any buyers come up and ask questions? I mean, did they know what this was about? What do you think of the kind of layout and how it was,
we had
suggestions for next year, for example?
We had prime placement. You can kind of see over the kind of top left middle, there's a big open space that was leading to the main event hall. Like we were between the SHRM certification lounge, the bar, and the main event hall. All the traffic came through there. We couldn't have asked for a better location. So we got lots of folks that came up, wanted to chat, wanted to understand what we were doing. And they gave us these gorgeous booth build outs to where we could actually, our video monitor, we had like a scrolling set of slides that people could passively learn what we were doing and didn't have to stop if they didn't want to, but they were watching as they were standing in line for the bar. And we got lots of folks that came up and were like, okay, tell me more. And we obviously got lots of kind of press from SHRM because we were part of the Shark Tank competition, and they had those folks involved as well. So yeah, I mean, they went all out on this for us. And so it was pretty incredible. One of companies, Tilt, is actually now a customer of Compt. They signed up for Compt after the competition. We're like, we need this for our team. I'm like, well, I'm going to need what you've got, but our team's still too small, too early. We don't have a bunch of babies yet, but we're gonna. So so it was pretty cool.
I have some other questions, but let me open it up to the group because I know we have about 5 minutes left of your time. So Katrina's raising her hand, I can see.
Did they put you on the SHRM marketplace?
They did not. So we are not part of the SHRM marketplace. None of these companies are. That's a great question, though. You should ask them for that.
Yeah. And my other question is, what kind of partners are you looking for? Payroll companies or what?
Yeah, so from a partnership perspective, we do spend a lot of time with payroll companies. So we've got a full API integration with ADP, but we work with all the major providers, and that's a really good place to play because that's how that tax compliance happens, is our information feeding through payroll. So those are good partnerships for us from that side. And we also work a lot with benefit brokers as well, who are trying to figure out, they're in the front lines working with our clients, trying to figure out, all right, what is the solution, the package that your team needs in the next year? And when you're thinking about employee perks, you can either have this grab bag of random stuff that's going to get really low utilization, or something like a perk stipend that can meet more needs for more people, be really easy. And so we spend a lot of time with brokers as well.
Nice. Other questions from the floor?
Yeah, I have one. I just didn't know how to raise my hand on the chat.
There isn't one. Do physically raise your hand.
Oh, okay. Was someone going to go though first? Go ahead if you were going to go.
Oh no, you go ahead first.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Adriana. I'm with Infor Product Management. I just was curious, how companies how you're able to explain how this can be equitable at a company. For example, that it's not taken advantage of for different levels with perks. And that what do you usually answer to that? So
that's a great question. So stipends are a great way to make it inclusive and equitable because you're giving an amount of money to a group of people. So that could be the entire company. We do see differences sometimes where it's part-time versus full-time, or maybe the part-time folks don't get the same benefit, but all the part-time people get the benefit. But taking another layer deeper, by having something that is more category-based and not hey, we provide childcare benefits. By nature of providing something like that, you are excluding everyone who doesn't have children that meet that very specific criteria. So individual perks are by nature very exclusive. By saying we support family benefits, that can mean anything to anyone, right? Because every single person has a family, but not every person has children. Not every person is, husband and wife and 2 children that are 7 and 2. So you make it a lot more inclusive just by saying we focus on family or wellness or travel or pets or whatever the thing is. It's making it more inclusive because every person can do something different. And that's where
nice.
It makes it much
so you
easier.
Pick that in your benefits package.
Exactly. The company picks the category and employees pick any vendor they want because there's no vendors on our platform. So they can use it in any local market that they're in. So we support employees in 50 states and 34 countries right now.
Okay. Thanks.
Wow.
Sure.
It's a lot of commerce. Somebody else, saw Andrew raised his hand and maybe Brent raised his voice. You guys want to arm wrestle quickly? You got 2 minutes.
I was just testing the hand raising feature to see if it worked or not. It does work, actually.
I was testing my voice raising. Anyways.
All right, Brent, do you have a question?
Yeah, a quick observation. I think it's really smart, the personalization part of this around employee perks. I remember back in my former analyst role, which was a couple of lives ago, when I first heard about employee perks and all that kind of stuff, I thought, we're going to increase employee engagement. It's going to be great. And I said, well, I'm not against employee perks, but it just seemed like a little bit of a bridge too far. I just didn't know, how exactly that was going to happen. So the there's been a lot of things I've seen that have been done, but the personalization approach, that's smart. I just wanted to put that out there.
Thanks.
You mentioned 90% employee engagement at your client companies.
Yep.
And I just, I obviously have the sort of chicken before the egg or the other way around question. Do you have benchmarking around that, before and after, or is this, do you find that client prospects of yours happen to have a more sort of sophisticated, elevated view of employee engagement versus how does that all work?
Sure. Let me break it down. So one, any company that's an employee perk that says, hey, we can measure your actual like employee engagement at work and productivity, not telling the truth. There's no way to measure that and measure the impact of that. What we measure is employee engagement with perks. So typical employee, like if you bring in a mental health app, if you bring in childcare, each of those is going to be 3 to 5% engagement. So 3 to 5% of the employees are going to use that perk. On our platform, we see that it's usually 85 to 90% of the stipends are used by employees. So that's what we mean by engagement, and that's what we're measuring. It is a very dramatic difference from using individual perks that you bring in. If you bring in a marketplace, it's usually 25 to 30% utilization across the team.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying there.
Sure.
And I know we got to move on, but I just super quick follow-up, hopefully, to that. What is the research around, the connection between utilization of employee perks and, sort of cascading sort of general benefits to the organization?
Sure. So the way I think about it is I look at the compensation stack. About 80% of an employee's compensation is health insurance and salary for a wide sector of kind of our economy. It's that last 20% where employee perks live and how companies differentiate, because you can literally Google for what your salary should be and you walk in. So if you're not differentiating in that last 20% as a company, you are going to lose candidates. You're not going to be able to hire the people that you want. You're going to have people say, like we've talked to a customer, it was probably about a year ago now, that was like, we lost a prospect because we didn't have pet insurance. And I'm like, that's insane. I can't even imagine. But they're like, you say you're a pet first company, you've got no pet insurance. This isn't lining up for me. I'm going to go somewhere that does. Stipends can solve that.
That's huge. So yeah, it is very much a talent acquisition play. And during this great resignation, particularly acute need. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Great questions. And Amy, I know you need to run to another meeting, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for hosting me.
A big honor. And I see Guillermo just showed up. I don't know if he brought his checkbook or not, but welcome.
Hey,
Guillermo.
they've already paid up. They've been fantastic. They've been amazing partners for us.
Nice.
Yeah, this has been very great. I just have one more question. Do you integrate with people like via APIs, or is everything just like you're in your application? How does that work?
APIs are through payroll companies and HRIS and HRIS systems. Yes, we have APIs. So we are fully integrated with Sapling and Bamboo HR and ADP Workforce now. Data integrations on the other providers right now.
Good. Okay. Thanks.
Awesome.